It's strange how the mind can remain active even when the body fails. Lying here, in this sterile hospital room, I'm trapped in my own body, a silent observer to the world around me. They think I'm in a deep coma, unaware, unhearing. But I hear everything. The beeps of the machines, the distant chatter of nurses, and more painfully, the conversations between Mark and Emily. Jane looks so peaceful, doesn't she? Emily's voice, soft and laced with a feigned concern, breaks the silence. Yeah, she does, replies Mark, his voice a low murmur. I just wish she'd wake up. Emily sighs. We both do, but we need to talk about the future, Mark. We can't put our lives on hold forever. I can feel the tension in the air, a palpable entity that seems to grow with every word they exchange. They're careful, tiptoeing around the subject. But I know there's more to this than concern for my well-being. Emily, I know where you're going with this, but it's not right. Not now. Not like this. Like what, Mark? Like us being realistic about what's going to happen. Jane might never wake up, and even if she does... Her voice trails off, but the unspoken words hang heavily in the room. I want to scream, to tell them I'm here. I'm listening, but my body betrays me, unresponsive and still. I know, Em, it's just hard. You know how much I loved her. Loved. Past tense. The word cuts through me sharper than any knife could. I loved him too. Once. Trusted him. Trusted them both. Look, we need to think about practical things now. The house, the money. Jane wouldn't want it to go to waste. Money. Of course. It's always about money with Emily. She's always envied what I had, and now she sees her chance to take it. And Mark, the man I vowed to spend my life with, is considering it. You're right. We should start looking into her assets. Get things in order. Assets. As if I'm already gone, a mere item on their checklist to be sorted out and disposed of. Let's not rush this, Mark. We have to be careful. If anyone finds out about us now, it could look... suspicious. Suspicious. The irony of her words almost makes me want to laugh. Or cry. I'm not sure anymore. Okay, we'll take it slow. For Jane. For me. Always for me. As if their deceit is somehow justified by my comatose state. I can feel the rage building inside me. A fire that refuses to be doused. They think they can get away with this. That they can betray me and just move on. But I won't let them. I can't let them. As they continue their scheming, whispering about bank accounts and properties, I make a silent vow. I will wake up. I will come back. And I will make them pay for every whispered betrayal, every veiled insult, every plan they've made at my expense. The conversation fades as they leave, but the echoes of their deceit linger in the air. I'm alone again, with only my thoughts for company. But something's changed. A determination, a resolve, has taken root within me. In the depth of the silence, something miraculous happens. My eyelids, heavy as lead, begin to flutter. It's slight, almost imperceptible, but it's there. The first sign of my impending return. The first step towards my retribution. They think they've won, that they've outsmarted me, but they have no idea what's coming for them. As the room fades into darkness, with only the soft beeping of the machines to keep me company, I drift into a restless sleep. But this time, it's different. This time, I'm fighting to wake up, to face them, to reclaim my life. And I will. I swear it on everything I once held dear. I returned home, a place that once symbolized love and safety, now a battleground of deceit and betrayal. Playing the part of the fragile, amnesiac wife, I navigated through Mark and Emily's web of lies, each step a move in a dangerous game. How are you feeling today, Jane? Mark's voice is laced with a concern that's too polished, too rehearsed. I'm okay, I guess. Everything's just so confusing. I clutch my head, feigning disorientation, a performance worthy of an Oscar. We're here for you, Jane, whatever you need. Emily interjects, her hand resting on my shoulder, a touch I can barely stand. Thank you, Em. I force a weak smile, hiding the storm brewing within me. As days pass, I become a silent observer in my own home, watching, listening, piecing together the fragments of their treachery. Every whispered phone call, every covert glance, fuels my resolve. One afternoon, as I sift through the mail, pretending to struggle with my memory, I find it, a document outlining a plan to have me declared mentally unfit. The audacity of their plan sends a chill down my spine. "I'm going for a walk, clear my head a bit," I murmur, sliding the document into my bag. Outside, the fresh air feels like a balm to my suffocating soul. My steps lead me to an old, familiar cafe where Lisa, my college friend and now an attorney, greets me. "Jane, it's so good to see you up and about." Lisa's hug is a lifeline in a sea of betrayal. "Lisa, I need your help. It's Mark and Emily. They're not who I thought they were." My voice is a mere whisper, but it carries the weight of my shattered world. Over coffee, I lay bare their plans, the lies, the deceit. Lisa listens, her expression shifting from shock to anger. Jane, this is serious. We need to act, and fast." With Lisa's guidance, I begin to build my case, secretly recording conversations, gathering financial records, documenting their every move. Each piece of evidence a nail in the coffin of their betrayal. Days turn into weeks, and with each passing moment, I play the part of the vulnerable wife to perfection. Mark and Emily, emboldened by my apparent helplessness, become careless, their true natures surfacing more with each day. One evening, as we sit in the living room, Emily broaches the topic I've been dreading. "Jane, we've been thinking. Maybe you should see a specialist, someone who can help with your condition." Her words are coded with a feigned concern, but her eyes tell a different story. Mark chimes in. "It's for the best, Jane. We just want you to get better." I nod, playing into their hands. Maybe you're right. I do want to get better. As they discuss plans for my treatment, I sit there, a storm of emotions raging within me. Anger, betrayal, but above all, a burning desire for retribution. Later that night, in the solitude of my room, I lay out my plan. Every piece of evidence, every recorded conversation, every document, all leading to one inevitable conclusion: their downfall. I stare at the evidence spread before me, a mosaic of their treachery. My heart, once heavy with sorrow, now beats with a purpose. They thought they could break me, control me, but they were gravely mistaken. I was no longer the Jane they knew. I was a woman reborn from the ashes of betrayal, a phoenix rising to claim her due. And when the time comes, they'll realize they never really knew me at all. As the moon casts its silver glow through my window, I make a vow. I will bring them to justice, not just for me, but for every silent victim of deceit. And when the sun rises, it will rise on a new chapter, a chapter where the hunter becomes the hunted. In the game of revenge, I became a master strategist. Each move was calculated, each step deliberate. As Jane, I was no longer the victim. I was the architect of my own justice. "Morning, Jane. How are you feeling?" Mark's voice echoed with fake cheerfulness as he prepared for work. "I'm okay, just a bit tired," I replied, hiding the glint of determination in my eyes. As Mark left, I set my plan into motion. First, his career, the foundation of his arrogance. I made anonymous calls to his office, planting seeds of doubt about his integrity. I sent carefully crafted emails from untraceable accounts, hinting at financial discrepancies. Watching from the shadows, I saw his once unshakable reputation begin to crumble. Next was Emily. Her social standing was her pride, her armor against the world. I planned to strip her of it. At a family gathering, I accidentally left out emails and messages that detailed her affair with Mark. The whispers started, looks of shock and disbelief aimed at her. "But, Jane, how could you think such things about me?" Emily's face was a mask of hurt innocence when confronted. "I don't know what you're talking about, Emily. I just found these and was trying to make sense of them." My feigned confusion was perfect, leaving her no room to maneuver. The fallout was spectacular. Emily's social circle crumbled as the truth about her betrayal spread like wildfire. Her once loyal friends turned their backs, leaving her isolated and exposed. Meanwhile, I worked meticulously to secure my assets. With Lisa's legal expertise, I shifted my finances, safeguarding them from Mark and Emily's grasp. Every document, every account was locked down, out of their reach. But the true masterpiece of my plan lay in the legal traps I set for them. With Lisa's help, I prepared a case for embezzlement and adultery, each piece of evidence meticulously documented and irrefutable. Throughout this, I maintained a facade of normalcy. To Mark and Emily, I was still the same Jane, a bit confused, a bit lost, but harmless. One evening, as we sat in the living room, Mark's phone wouldn't stop ringing. His once calm demeanor was now frayed, his eyes constantly darting to his buzzing phone. "What's wrong, Mark? You seem distracted." My voice was laced with feigned concern. "It's nothing, just work stuff. Don't worry about it." His reply was curt, his mind clearly elsewhere. And Emily, she was a shadow of her former self. The confident, manipulative woman I knew was now nervous, her eyes always looking for an escape. "I heard about your friends, Emily. I'm so sorry." I offered hollow sympathy, savoring the irony. It's just a misunderstanding. They'll see." Her voice was a mix of desperation and denial. As the days passed, their composure unraveled. Mark's once flawless career was now in jeopardy, his reputation tarnished. Emily found herself ostracized, her social standing in ruins. Sitting back, I watched as the world they knew, the world they built on lies and deceit, crumbled around them. They started to realize that something was wrong, that their carefully laid plans were falling apart. But they couldn't figure out why. They didn't know that the woman they betrayed was the architect of their downfall. As I retired to my room that night, I looked at my reflection in the mirror. The woman staring back was no longer just Jane. She was justice personified. The final act of my plan was close, and when it was time, I would step out of the shadows, revealing myself as the puppeteer of their demise. And when they finally understood, when the realization dawned in their eyes, it would be too late. Their fate was sealed, and my victory was imminent. For in the game of revenge, it's not the loudest player who wins. It's the one who waits, who plans, who strikes with precision. And I, Jane, was ready for my checkmate. The day of reckoning arrived, cloaked in the guise of a grand family gathering. The air was tense, charged with unspoken truths and hidden agendas. As I, Jane, entered the room, a hush fell over the crowd. The stage was set, and the final act of my meticulously crafted plan was about to unfold. "You look well, Jane. It's good to see you among family again." Mark's words were laced with a nervous edge, his smile failing to reach his eyes. "Thank you, Mark. It is good to be here." My voice was calm, a stark contrast to the storm raging within me. As the evening progressed, I watched Mark and Emily closely, their every move, every glance. The time had come to pull back the curtain on their charade. I clinked my glass, drawing the attention of the room. "I'd like to say a few words if I may. It's about time everyone knew the truth." Mark and Emily exchanged panicked glances, their facades crumbling under the weight of impending exposure. "This past year has been enlightening. I've learned much about people's true natures, about betrayal and deceit." My gaze locked with theirs, unflinching, unwavering. "What are you talking about, Jane?" Emily's voice quivered, a mix of fear and feigned ignorance. "I'm talking about you and Mark, about your affair, your plans to take everything from me while I lay helpless in a hospital bed." Gasps echoed through the room, the family's shock palpable. "Jane, I can explain." Mark's plea was desperate, his composure shattered. "No, Mark. You've done enough talking behind my back. It's my turn now." I laid bare their schemes, their betrayal. The evidence was undeniable, irrefutable. The room was silent, the truth a heavy shroud upon the gathering. "Jane, please. I'm so sorry. I never meant for any of this to happen." Emily's eyes were filled with tears, but they sparked no sympathy in me. "Sorry doesn't undo the betrayal, Emily. It doesn't erase the lies." As the weight of their actions sank in, Mark and Emily faced the consequences. Legal repercussions for their deceit, social ostracization for their moral bankruptcy. Their empire of lies crumbled, leaving them with nothing but the remnants of their shattered dignity. My victory was not just legal and financial, it was moral and personal. I stood there, vindicated, liberated from the chains of their deceit. I hope one day you both find the redemption you seek. But it will not be with me. I am moving on, stronger and more independent than I ever was. With those final words, I turned away from them, from the past that tried to break me. The room was silent, the audience of my triumph witnessing the birth of a new Jane. As I walked away, the air felt lighter, the future brighter, The path ahead was mine to forge, a journey of self-discovery and empowerment. The scars of betrayal would always be a part of me, but they no longer defined me.